All right. Does everyone have something saying I'm recording? Okay. Do you still see my screen? Because I don't show that I'm sharing it.
Yes
Okay.
and yes.
Awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to Canvas. And I want to just go to your modules tab. And on now, some of you may have already gotten your section view in. You may have already scaled it. Um, if you did, great. I still want you to go through this process. Okay. This might turn out a little bit better than the one you have. I cleaned it up, edited a little bit, and scaled it. So it should be scaled for everybody's drawings. So what I want to do is go to the final project rubric or the final project module. And second to the bottom, I put in this construction. I deleted the old one. Okay. So if you already had a section head out of here that said construction 241 section head, this is new. Okay. Construction 241 fall 2024 section head, DWG. Okay. So I want you to go to that, click on it. It'll open this up. And then I want to go ahead and download that section head. And once it's downloaded, you can double click on it and it'll open up in a new tab in your AutoCAD. So I'll give everybody a minute or two to get that up. And when you have a screen that looks like this with that section head, give me a thumbs up on your keyboard or your perfect. And then people without cameras, I don't care if you leave them off, that's fine, but give me a thumbs up with the emoji just so I know that we're all good to go. Cool. Awesome. Okay, good deal. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about this section head a little bit. We are gonna copy it into our project, but I want to just talk about it first and explain how it works, what the features are, how to use it. Okay. So if you click on this section head, it's a block reference, but it's not just a normal block. Okay. So I've built this block so it can be it's not necessarily parametric like Revit families are for the one of you that's taken my family class or my Revit class. But what it does do is it allows you to stretch this. So you can make this section head represent the length that you want to show. Okay, so you can take that again, but it stretches on the tail. Okay, so this is the head of the section head. This is the tail. And you can stretch that, multiple hundreds of feet if you need to. We probably should only need to send it down like 40 feet, maybe 50. I don't know. But you can stretch that. And it's just going to be dependent on how long you need it for where you're taking the section. So that's the section tail. Now, the section head, you can actually rotate this. Kind of cool. So if you use this section head rotate at the top of the triangle, you'll see this node. If you click it and drag your mouse, you can rotate that. So if you have a certain angle or something, instead of using your rotate command, it's already built in here that's a function of this section head. Okay. Two more things with the section head. One, you can turn this flag off, and that's what that's going to do is it's turning on and off this tail. So sometimes this tail gets in the way. We always need to have this section head, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this tail, sometimes if it's blocking something, there is the option right here to turn it off, or we can make a broken line, which actually allows you to kind of show that this section is split. Okay, again, a little bit more advanced than the stuff that we need, but if you want to use it, the tools are there. So I'm going to leave it flag on. This is how I would typically use it. So we got two more features for this. We've got the tail that stretches. We've got the head that will rotate. We have and we've got a flag that'll turn on and off. We also have this little arrow right here to the right of the big triangle that will flip the entire section head. So if you click that, now that section head is facing south. If you click this again, now it'll face north. Okay, so kind of cool little flip. And then last but not least, and this is why we have a section head. Does anyone know what typically you would see here on a drawing? What is this head for?
Yeah, sheet number and the detail number or section number.
Absolutely perfect. This is your guide,
Mhm.
right? So you could have this section head, but if it didn't have any information to it, how do you know what sheet to go to view that detail, right? So if we click on the section head, if you come over in your properties on the left-hand side right here in attributes, you can change it here. You can also double click on it, I believe, and it will pull up the attribute editor. Either way, I kind of like just going to the properties to get there. It makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to make sure you double click in the right spot to get it to pop. So, but we're just going to go ahead and say, hey, this is going to be view number 1 on sheet number, I don't know, A5. Or I'll just say view number 1 on sheet 5. And that will put that in there. So that way, when we actually show the section view on a sheet, we can reference what sheet that comes from. Any questions there? Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, the biggest thing about this is all this is doing is representing where I'm taking a section cut. So let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And I want you to use your Control C method of copying, right? You're just a standard Control C, Control V, not the copy method, typing in copy or coming up to your ribbon and hitting. We want to actually use our Control C copy method. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to copy this whole block. And if I go to another drawing, I can now, actually, I'll go back. I could now paste that block in, and here it comes in right like that. And you can see the scale is pretty good. I already brought this in so I could make sure it worked right. So, but this is now, and if I grab the center of this head, I can move this anywhere I want with the middle square. If I grab anything else, it's not going to really allow me to move it unless I use my move command. But grabbing that little square will allow you to move it. So this section cut is taken right here. I believe it's in the bedroom. Let's see. Master bedroom. So that's probably taken something like this. And this extends all the way to past this door to the right. Okay, so this is going to come back to, and I'm going to put this right here. Let's go hit that move button. I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm going to extend this over past the door and make sure my tail goes through this wall because that is what I drew for this section view, right? I'm seeing that wall. I'm seeing those doors. I'm seeing this bathroom door. Okay, so that's what these head and tail are there to represent. Now, sometimes maybe this tag right here is in a bad spot. So what we could do is we could rotate this whole thing. We could rotate it 90 and then use our flip tool and then move the whole thing over. So our section head is now in a clear spot that we're not overwriting, bathroom information or dimensions. Okay. So that's the reason that flips is so you can put that section head in a spot that is the least obtrusive as possible. Obviously, it's still taking section cuts like this. It's still will probably go through a dimension. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Any questions on that? And again, you can always, and don't worry about filling this out. Leave this blank until we get all of your views put on a sheet. Once they're on the sheet, then we can go and determine what detailed number and what sheet it's on. You can come back and fill that out. Any questions on sections? So the goal is to have at least one interior section and 4 exterior elevations. For those of you that are doing, I'll use Adam for an example. He's doing a building that 2 sides of it are exterior, but the other 2 sides of it butt up to other departments, and he's just doing the one section of his department. So instead of having 4 elevations and having 2 of them just show nothing but a blank wall, Adam's going to put in at least one more. I'd like to see 2 more, but at least one more section cut. Okay, so if you're one of those people that don't have 4 different elevations that are different, maybe you've got something that's just a wall without anything on it, you can always come in here and give a section view and detail the section view just like we would that exterior wall, right? Just like we did anything else with those elevations. You're just taking that cut inside instead of looking outside in. But yeah, you can use if you're only showing a couple elevations, please utilize more sections to make sure you get full points. All right. So the next portion of it, has anyone got questions before I move on? I don't want to move away from the sections, but if everyone thinks they're good, the other thing is what I might do is, depending on how we do with the next task, I was going to go back over sheets. Does anybody need me to go over these sheets and title blocks and how to get your views back on sheets? I know that we did that 2 weeks ago, but I am more than happy to give a refresher on it if we need to. So again, please speak up. If not, we can just move on and work on our individual projects, and I'll jump in and take a look and see where we're at. Awfully quiet today. Everyone's got their final done and wants to turn it in right now? Okay.
We could go over the sections one more time. I think I showed up late to that class, so
The sections, or you mean the title block?
yeah, this right here.
Sure.
I missed that part of the class.
Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna build a brand new title block. I'll show you this, just coming straight out of nothing. So I clicked this layout button and it created or this plus button and it creates a layout. And it's called layout 1. And we'll just leave this called layout 1 for right now. And what I want to do with this layout 1 is I want to come up here and click from template. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to choose a title block for it. So I'm going to come up here to the AutoCAD templates. It should automatically direct you into this folder. If you need it, that's where it lives. Okay, so it's kind of a program file. I don't know if you're using MEP, but it's the same basic pathing. But we want to click this AutoCAD templates folder. We want to go into the sheet sets, and we want to choose architectural imperial. Okay, not civil imperial or manufacturing imperial or architectural metric. We want architectural imperial. And we're going to go ahead and click OK, open. And I want to do, it's an Arc D. That's the size of the sheet. Okay. And I'll click OK. And so right now, it just built me a brand new sheet. And if you end up with a layout 1 or some extra stuff, right? If you hit this plus button, it's just going to create a blank one of these. If you right click one of them and create from template, it's going to create a new one from the template. So I'm just going to delete this layout 1. We don't need it. Goodbye. All right. So this just says arc D, and it says arc D right now just by default because that's the size of this sheet. So an arc D is 36 by 42 is an arc D. An arc E is 36 by 48. So just a basic sheet size. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this. And I'm going to call this floor plan. Now I'm going to probably just call it, here, I'll call it GT floor plan, just so I don't have two with the same name. And you'll notice one thing about this title block, that when you brought it in, it doesn't have any viewports associated with that. So what do I mean by a viewport?
Like where you could just click it and it takes you there, or not
So
sure.
it's where ultimately what a viewport is a portal or a viewport into the model space. So we've got two different spaces. One is called paper space, which is what we're on right now, and that's typically where your title block lives on your paper space. Keep in mind, Jordan, and I think I told everybody else this, but for some reason, I don't understand why AutoCAD can't fix their own stuff. But when this title block comes in, there's actually, if I hit delete and then I select the next one and hit delete, there's actually 3 versions of that title block on top of each other. I don't know why.
That's funny.
Okay, that's AutoCAD for you. Okay, so but you should be able to get it down to where it just says 00 and a blank page. So once we've got to here, it's now time to add our viewport. So I'm going to type in viewport. And I want to create a single viewport, nothing crazy, 3 right, horizontal. I just care about one single viewport. And we're going to, once we click OK, it's going to say, hey, where do you want to draw this viewport? And up here in this top corner, well, this fillet is made, or this arc is made with a center circle. So there's a circle that's right here that we're going to utilize to start our top of our viewpoint. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to drag my mouse. And again, it doesn't show up until I hit that circle. Now, once I hit that circle, I can bring my mouse back to here. And now I've got the center point of that circle. I'm going to click once, drag it to where it looks pretty good down here. Kind of the same border on the bottom and the right-hand side. And then I'll click again. And once I click again, we now have a viewport. Okay, so the one thing about this viewport, though, is it doesn't come in active. You'll notice that we are still sitting right here on the paper space. Okay, so in order to activate this viewport, there's 2 ways to do this. One, by clicking paper, and it will go into model space. And you can see now this is so here, I'll step back for 1 second. When I'm in paper space, I can zoom in and out on the whole sheet, and that whole sheet is going to zoom in and out with me, right? So what I like to do to set this up, just so I have the maximum real estate, is I like to hit Z, enter, W, enter, which is zoom window. And then I'm going to click essentially this top corner, somewhere up here, drag, click the bottom corner, and it's going to zoom this. So that is the maximum window size that it can be. Okay. And I want that to be this big because if I have it out like this, and then we start trying to work in our viewport, this is where it's going to maintain. Once you activate that viewport, your sheet size stays the same. So again, I'm going to go back, Z, enter, D, W, enter. Grab that whole thing. Maybe I want a little bit more room. Now that it's big, I'm going to click this paper and go into model space. Okay. Once I'm in model space, if I zoom in and out, you'll notice that this sheet does not change. The sheet should still say the entire size of your screen. If it does change, you are you're in paper space, not model space. And
And
model,
That's just as simple as clicking inside the grid, right? You're just clicking in there and then you're able to zoom in and out.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's two ways to access it. You can click this paper versus model, which is for people that aren't fully comfortable double clicking and making sure that like this view is active. This is a really easy way to go, and my recommendation. If you want to grab this viewport and then grab it and then double click inside of it, you can do that as well. Okay, two different ways to activate that. You will notice when you double click inside that you now have model space showing down here instead of paper. Again, you can always just click back and it'll toggle between the model and the paper space. So let's go into model space. And what we want to do is we want to create, ultimately, we want to create 5 or 6 sheets, right? Title blocks that we can have one of them be a floor plan, one of them be my north elevation, my next one be my east elevation, right? And so on and so forth. There's my south, here's my west, here's my interior elevation, right? So those are the
And Graham, I'm sure you've already said this before, but for the final, is the expectation just one interior elevation, or are you wanting like a few of them?
the expectation is at least one.
Okay.
Okay. However, if you are building something, so here, we're looking for 5 elevation views ultimately. I'm looking for 4 exterior elevations and at least 1 section. If you want to provide more than 1 section, not a problem. If you don't have all 4 of those exterior elevations because, and like I was saying earlier, Adam's working on a project where 2 of his walls, there's nothing on them. There's no windows. It's just a dividing wall between another department. So him putting together an elevation for that is literally going to look like this. I mean, it literally would look
Just like a
just,
wall.
it would just be
Yeah.
this, right? That's
Yeah.
not doing me a whole lot of good. Like, okay, cool. You could throw some dimensions on it, but it's like, that's
So
crap. Like, there's
if I
nothing
if I
there.
have a couple
Yeah,
basic
and it felt like a
walls,
little bit of a
I
cop out.
I could basically compensate by doing extra interior
You got
elevations.
it. That's where
Okay.
I'm getting at. So
Okay.
if you have 2 exterior walls that are good, give me 2 exterior and 2 interior, and we'll make up for it. Okay.
Okay.
Um, if you have all 4 exterior, please do all 4 exterior walls and then 1 interior section cut. The reason I'm saying people can do like the interior section cuts are a lot more in depth, especially depending on what you're cutting, right? You could just be cutting something where I'm like just looking at a couch, but you could be cutting something in a kitchen where you've got elevation views of, cabinetry, and you've got elevation views of stoves and dishwashers and sinks, right? That's a lot more time consuming to put that together than this exterior wall and a window, right? So that's why I'm saying if you only have 2 exterior, you need 2 interior. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Good question. All right, so that's the goal, right? Is to provide these 6 sheets. Now you'll notice that let's go. So you'll notice that this is my floor plan, and down here that's sheet 1. Now a lot of you should be able to just double click right into this, the O1, and this will pop up. This is what's called the enhanced attribute editor. And I could click in here, this O1 value, and change this to an O5, and it'll change to O5, right? If you have issues with this, let me know and we can figure out a way around it. Okay. We got into an issue today where one person, something happened with their project. When we opened a new title block, no problem. We were able to get into it. When we copied that title block back into the project, it did the same thing where it would not allow me to double click into here. It wouldn't allow me to select the block. So what we ended up doing was taking this number out here, and then we just typed in we put a text box in and put in our own number right there, right? So not a big deal, but there's always a way around it, right? So, all right, let's get back to the floor plan. So the floor plan is going to be your first view. It's going to be the view that everything starts at. And to create that floor plan, you, as far as zooming in, okay, You can try to do this, zoom in and find something that works good. Maybe that looks okay. Oh, it doesn't get everything I want. The easiest way to get what you want to see and only what you want to see is use your zoom window. Z, enter, W, enter. And now I can say, hey, I just want to see this. And now that's all I'm seeing, right? If I wanted to go to my north elevation, right? Let's set this as a plan view and let's build a title block for the elevation. So I'll go ahead again, Z, enter, W, enter, and I'm going to zoom this to something like this. Okay. Now that I've got this first view, you can right click. We've already built the viewport. We've deleted the extra sheets that are on here, right? So once we build one and have it the way that we want it, we can right click and come up here to this move or copy button. Come down to create a copy and move to end. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a new copy that's going to call like GT floor plan and then in parentheses 2. So we'll do that, create a copy. There it is right there. And it'll be the exact same as what I have on that previous sheet. I can now rename this sheet to GT North Elevation. And as simple as, activating my model space and coming to my north elevation and using my zoom window. And there's my north elevation view. And this one, again, we could come in here. Okay, maybe this first one we want to be called sheet 1. So we'll type in 01 right here. Again, you can do all of your stuff right here in the title block. So enter the project name. So Graham's project. And you could enter, what does this say? Let's see, can we expand this so we can read? Yeah. Project address. Okay, so I could do value 123 nothing street. Cincinnati, Ohio, right? So whatever, I don't care what it is. Okay, project name. You can put your, let's see, there's a couple different ones here. You can put the date on it, the scale, as noted is what we want to leave that as. So anyhow, that looks good. I can click OK, but now you can see that, hey, stuff came in here, right, into my project name, right? So, and when you do that, and you do it, so what you want to do is you want to do all of that. Anything you want to enter in here, do it the first time, and then when you duplicate it, it will be there the next time. Okay, so it's not a big deal if you don't have a bunch of stuff in here. I'm not really grading on title block. I'd like to see a number in here and something, at least a title on your sheet that I can see, oh, this is obviously the north elevation. All right, do we want to do one more or do we think we're good with this process?
I feel pretty good about it. Thank you for going through that one time for me.
Absolutely. Is there anything else before I let you go? And I'm not letting you go. I'm just saying before we break out into our rooms and I come and visit you individually. Is there anything else? Again, there are no stupid questions. So from the first week to, I guess this is week 10, is there anything that anyone's struggling with, would like a refresher on? How do we do a hatch? How do we draw a circle? How do we mirror something? I mean, the basic commands. If there's anything that you're struggling on, now is the time to speak up. And because you know what? If you are, I guarantee there's two other people that are doing the same thing, that just not speaking. Okay. So everyone's a master. Are you talking, Mackenzie?
Yeah, I see Mackenzie talking, but I can't hear
You're
her
not. You,
either.
you don't.
So
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't see her muted. I went to check to make sure
no,
she was
she's not
unmuted.
muted. Yeah, she's
She
unmuted right
just
now.
has no microphone. If you need to, Mackenzie, you can also, I can pull this up, but
Hear me now?
we can get,
Yeah, I
yep,
can
I
hear you.
got you.
Great. Sorry. That's good. Okay. My question is, so we're creating all these papers. Is our final deliverable to you like a PDF package of
I
these?
don't care that you PDF it. Okay. What I want is your
Fine.
deliverable.
Yeah.
Okay. I want the actual AutoCAD drawing, the
Oh, you do?
DWG
Okay.
file. I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Okay. But I want all of these sheets set up across the bottom. Okay.
Great.
So
Okay. So
just
it's
like
a
you were going to PDF
DWG.
it, exactly. It
Got
makes it
it.
easier for everyone. We're not having a PDF. I'm not having to go through. Then I can also look at your model this way instead of just seeing a PDF copy of it where I'm having to like zoom into something and I can't really see it because you didn't
Right.
really zoom in
Right.
far enough, right?
Okay.
So
Thank
yeah,
you for clarifying
and
that because
I'll
before
give
you're
you the
like, we still
benefit.
want
I'll
your
give you
model.
more benefits of the doubt if I see a model than if I just see a PDF,
Yeah.
right? Because I can
Okay.
go into it and see, okay, that's what it's supposed to
This
be,
should
or
be.
oh, okay, I get this now, right?
How do
But I
you?
don't need you. I don't need you to print PDFs of every single sheet. I'd rather it just be all together and I can click through the tabs.
How do you create it
Tabs,
from this?
huh?
How do you create a PDF from this? Like, is it just print
How do
file,
you?
print PDF? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You just got to
print PDF.
print plot, and then so we can either do a single plot, and I could do continue to a single plot, and I could say what I want to 24 by 36 arc D. Sorry, I guess I said I've been using arc. Oh, what is it? It's this stupid ANSI. This one, this ANSI expanded, this 34 by 22. It's what's on my job right now, and I don't like it, but I deal with it. So anyhow, you can print that. Go to your ultimately name. What do you
Oh,
want to print?
okay. See, I see.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you can also although I would typically want to see like Bluebeam, but let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay, see then it's automatically starting to print a PDF right there.
Right.
Okay. So the other option, which it kind of gave me a warning about, it wasn't really a warning, but if you go to print, you can go to batch plot. Okay. And I could say I could go through here and choose the different sheets that I want and have it create a package for me. Again, we're not doing that. I don't want to deal with printer errors.
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
just leave it all down here at the bottom. The biggest thing I want to see though is since we're not doing PDFs, I do want to see all of these labeled correctly, right? So if I click on the floor plan, I'm going to the floor plan, right? I'm not clicking on the reading floor plan and I'm on a north elevation. I don't know how many times I've seen that happen, okay? The other thing is on your north elevation, when I click on it, I should see a title here that says north elevation on that drawing. So I'm confirming that that is north, right? And that's just drawn with some model text above each one of these elevations, right? Just something simple, okay? But like if I didn't have that on there and I wasn't bringing in a title, now I go to this north elevation and I'm like, okay, am I sure that's the north? You know, because I don't know the project well enough yet, right? My job is to look at it and understand what's going on. So having stuff like that where that north elevation, west elevation's on there. So when I click on it, I see it. It's nice and convenient. So that's one thing is the names. And then I would like your sheets to be numbered. Okay. The reason being is let's go to this interior elevation. So do this. It's like, okay, cool. I'm time for my interior elevation. I'm on sheet 6. Okay, I'm gonna zoom this to the window. Okay, looks good. Now, what do I need to do to make this come full circle to what we started talking about today?
You need to put sheet 6 on your section head.
Exactly. Got it. So if I go to this section head now, it should say detail 1 on sheet number 6. Now it says 1 on 6, and I can go to sheet number 6, detail 1, and I'll zoom this better just so we don't have this. There you go. And something like that. So now it's like, okay, there's 6. I've only got one detail on there, right? So detail 1 on sheet 6. Okay. And again, that section head, you can flip around, do whatever you need to make this head in a clear spot. If you need to bring this head all the way out like here to get into a clear spot so you can read what's inside of it, that's fine. Okay. It doesn't matter if it extends way past the wall, because when I go to this section view, I'll see, okay, that section's really ending at the left side is at the wall. So that head is just extending just for clarity, right? And again, it's not bad right now, but when you deal with drawings that look like, I think I still have one
So
up
quick
that was,
question, so when you were referenced it as 1/6, would it be page 6 on the white page?
correct. Yep. So it's detail 1 on page 6, and that's right here. So this is page 6, right?
Okay,
Sheet 06. And this is that detail. So if I went to the floor plan, I looked at that section view, it's referencing me to the right detail and the right sheet.
where does the 1 come into play? Or is it just kind of
The 1
implied?
comes into play with detail numbers. So there's not a huge, let's do this real quick. Let me back a few steps. Get back into model space. So the 1 comes into play. Let's say we had a bunch of different, and let's say we had something that looked like this. We could have a view name with a detail number on it that said 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So if there's more than one detail on that sheet, it's going to point you to the right one. We only need to have one. We're not going to put a bunch of details on there, so we can just put
Is that pretty
1.
standard, whereas the bottom number will be the page number and the top number will be what?
Always.
Okay.
Always. Yep. That is 100% a standard that bottom is always going to be. And a lot of times this bottom might actually, like, if I go to any sheets like that I produce, we don't call sheets just 1 through 6, right? I produce packages with 2,500 plus pages sometimes. So it might be like, here, I'll just pull one up for example. Let's see. Like, if I go to I got it here. Grab something like this. So the name of this sheet is actually, oh, here, let's bring this up. So we deal with a lot of sheets. That's the actual name of the sheet. VE:1 CE3 cover 01. And every sheet has its own unique name and ID. And not only does it have a sheet, so this is a sheet number, this is a sheet name. So your section head's always going to reference a detail number and a sheet number. It doesn't necessarily need the sheet name. It's going to read that sheet number. But if I made a section and I was in this auto, let's bring this over like this. And We'll go to here. So this would actually, if this was for this project, this would actually read something like this, where instead of 5, I would have this whole giant VE colo 1, colo 1, CE3, EQL dash 0.03.03.1. Okay. And it would read something like that. Okay. So a lot of times you'll see the sheet number underneath it expand past that little bubble. And just due to how we need to name sheets in order to create packages at this point. So, because sequentially 1 through 155 or 1 through 2000 doesn't really allow you to nicely be able to go to exactly what you want to go to. But like if I go to, any type of normal sheet set, here, I can just go to this one right here. If I go to this, there's their sheet number, right? FA03, there's their job number, there's all their information in the title block. So nothing on a job will ever have 2 sheet numbers that are the exact same, right? So having it FA, okay, 03, so I know right off the bat this is fire alarm, and 03 is the third page of that's just the third page of their package, right? So, but different things have different nomenclature depending on what you're getting at. Maybe it's an architectural plan, mechanical plan, everything's going to have a prefix. So having a section head that clearly identifies where I'm going to find that section later in the packet. Maybe it's only 6 pages, maybe it's 2,500 pages, right? Knowing exactly where to go and what sheet to be on, and not just sheet 42, sheet, fire alarm, floor 3, area 2. It's going to spell that out so you know right where you're going. Okay. I know it's a little overkill, but that was just why we have all of this in here. And just to beat this home, let's do this. Let me open up in review. Let's go to cell 4, Polo 1 cell 4 drawings. So we're going to see this all over the place right here. This is an overview of that one cell. We have, this is a sheet that's dealing with branch lighting. So we have a branch lighting systems as part of the sheet number. This one's dealing with branch power. So we got branch power. And you'll notice, here's the sections that we're talking about, right? So detail 4 on BPSO2, I go to here, BPSO2, detail 4, and that's exactly what I'm referring to. Okay, so it's calling out, some stuff is just too much. You don't have enough real estate to call out all this information of all these conduits or whatever it may be. You need to have a section view, right? So we take that section view, again, this very clearly, and in Revit, it's pretty cool because when you drop this view onto a sheet, it will automatically put the detail number and the sheet name number in this section head. So because it knows where things are, okay? We're faking it a little bit with AutoCAD, and that's how they've done it for 30 years. But when you drop a view on a sheet in Revit, it actually, this stays blank. It stays those 2 dashes until you drop it, and then it will autofill out based on what detail it is on that sheet and what sheet you put it on. And again, you can flip it so things are looking different directions, right? These are looking north. Some of those are looking east-west. Same concept though. And so you see this, and a lot of times we'll end up doing something like this where it's not a transparent background. So it's actually opaque. So you can see that a lot easier. When you get into some of this stuff, it's kind of hard to see everything. Like that 1 is hard to see because that's transparent. Okay. So, but that kind of takes care of that name. And I've seen it. This can be short. I mean, I've seen it, that the name is, I don't know, from here to here, right? It could be massive. So that's what I'm saying. Take this section head, bring it out to somewhere where it's clean So then that way you can read what's going on. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to go over. Okay?
I have a
Right
question.
on. I will. Yeah.
Sorry. Can you go over again the title block modification? So how can we change what is written on it?
What's written on the title block?
Yeah, like the numbers of the sheet and the date and all that. I
Sure.
can't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. So depending on what your hopefully, first off, can you share your screen?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
let's do that. And we're going to walk through this on your end because I want to see if there's any other issues that you may be running into due to the multiple title blocks. So let's go ahead and share. I'll stop sharing mine. Oh, who's on the chat? Oh, someone gave me a thumbs up on the chat. Allow. Well, multiple presenters can share now. Since when? Zoom, you're okay. Go ahead and try and share.
Let me see. Let's see where I'm at. Here I am. Okay. Can you see it?
Not yet. It's coming though.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, perfect. So excellent. So the first thing is you don't have multiple copies on top of each other. So that's good. So just try and double click right on the center of that 0. Where that yeah, right there. Double click that.
Yeah, I did, but
So
he wants to move it.
it wants to move it. Okay, try and double click just anywhere else right there. Hit escape. I don't know. It's lagging. Okay. Try and just double click onto like that title block. It should pop up, but we've had some people have issues with it. Like double click right there. Nothing. Oh, there it is. You got it.
So, okay.
So now that value is you can put 1 in there.
Right here, I put 0, 1. Like, okay.
Scroll. No, sorry. Hit Control Z. You were in the project name field.
Okay.
So if you scroll down in that list there at the bottom, see that 0, 0?
Yep.
Go to the right. Keep going. Click right there where the zeros are. And now you should be able to type in. Oh, hit cancel. We don't want to change anything of this. Just hit cancel.
Cancel.
All right, just type in 01. There. There
Okay.
you go.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it is a little tricky. And then you see right there where you change the other value to 01, right? Where it's a project name. So again, you could change that. I'm not going to be a stickler about what's in your title block. Okay. I would like to see sheet numbers on there. So that way we can reference that section view. But I don't really care about the whole filling out all your stuff in there. Not a big deal to me. That's not what this class is about. Can you fill out a title block, right? That's what it used to be about. It used to be all about just drawing that title block and learning how to draw that line. And it's like, we need to move past this. Like, that's pretty simple. So, all right. Any other questions? Yeah, thank you. If you have issues getting into it, we can also place some text. Essentially, go to that view, move those zeros out of the way. You can grab them and move it. And then we could just put in some model text in there, right? And we could type in our own number and fake it. Yeah. All right. Anything else before we jump into breakout rooms? And I'll give you a 5-minute break or so. And then I'll start getting people involved. Nope. Okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions. I know I say it a lot, but it's true because again, I don't know what's going on your screen unless you tell me what's going on and we look at the problem together, right? Like what I had in class earlier or when Todd came in, I don't know why his title block was acting the way it does, but we don't have the time to spend 3 hours to fix it and troubleshoot that. So let's figure out how to find a 5-minute solution and move on with our lives and keep going with this project, right? I don't want you to get bogged down on something because it's not working the way that you think it should be working, right? All right. I am going to go ahead and stop the recording and I will post what we did tonight for the first hour in the module for today. Yeah, and then but we'll get back together in breakout rooms and I want to go through everybody's project with you one-on-one for 5 minutes or so and just take a look, give you a yes, no. If you've got any questions that you didn't want to ask in front of everybody else, please ask them there. Okay.
Are we okay to log if we don't really have any questions?
If you're good and you're absolutely fine to log out, that just means I have more time to focus on people that need the help.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
So yeah, so and again, next week, real quick before people run off, next week, there is attendance is already, I'll already fill it out for everyone being there. Whether you want to show up or not, that's great. But we just need to submit that final by 8 o'clock. And preferably if you're not there in class, your final should probably be submitted already. Like if you're not taking, if you want me to take a look, I can look at it real quick in the class. Like don't submit it and be like, okay, I'm done. And maybe there's nothing that you did that there's some stuff we could improve on, right? So I just want to give everyone a chance to make sure that they can turn in the best product they can. All right, I'm opening up breakout rooms and then I'll start pulling one at a time throughout. And one breakout room. Sign manual. Add room. All right, and anyone want to go first? Anyone dying for me to look at your project?
I can.
Who's I
I'll do,
can?
I'll do second.
That's Rylan.
Rylan, all right, I'm inviting you.
I have you on my phone. Let me log back in on my computer. I just did
Okay, so I'm gonna go to somebody else and I'll get back with you.
fine. I totally didn't think about it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, all good. Anybody else want to be the first one?
I'll do the first
Okay.
one.
All
There you go.
right. Boom. Let me do this. I need to stop this recording.